My 17-year-old daughter was left out of my sister's wedding for being too young. I didn't argue. I just calmly said we wouldn't attend. But when Christmas came, I made one small adjustment, and it sent the entire family into chaos. My name is Claire, the oldest of 3 sisters. Growing up, that role meant I had to be dependable. The one who babysat, who helped, who stepped in whenever our parents were drained or distracted. I didn't resent it at first. It was simply the way life worked. Tessa, the middle sister, was the entertainer, always drawing laughter and attention. Rachel, the youngest, was the baby of the family, the one everyone spoiled and who slipped past consequences. That left me as the one picking up after them. When I became a mother, things changed a little, though not nearly as much as I had hoped. I adopted my daughter Maya at age 3. She had these big, thoughtful eyes, a quiet gaze that seemed to question whether the world could be trusted. I'll never forget the first time she called me Mom. I cried alone in the car after preschool drop-off. From the beginning, I made her a vow. She would never feel unwanted in this family, that she would always belong. But no matter how much effort I poured in, I couldn't always keep that promise. Last spring, Tessa got engaged. There was a dramatic reveal, a massive diamond ring, and of course, a flashy Instagram post. Naturally, I congratulated her. Maya even crafted her a handmade card, cut little bells from paper, and glued them down with way too much glitter. Tessa called it cute, then tossed it into the backseat of her car. I stumbled on it 2 weeks later, half crumpled under an empty Starbucks cup. Still, Maya was excited for the wedding. She scrolled through dresses online, asked if her hair should be styled up or down. I could sense her nervousness, but there was hope shining in her eyes. All she wanted was to be part of it. Then the invitation showed up in the mail. It was one of those fancy kinds, thick cardstock, golden borders, the type that probably cost more than my monthly water bill. I tore it open at the kitchen counter, while Maya was bent over her homework at the table. It listed the usual details: location, attire, RSVP instructions. Then my eyes caught it. Adults only, 18 plus, strictly enforced, no exceptions. I read it again, hoping I had misinterpreted, but I hadn't. Maya picked up on my expression instantly. She lifted her head and asked, "She doesn't want me there?" I answered quietly, "It's an 18-plus wedding." She was silent for a moment, then asked, "Is it because I'm adopted?" That question split me open inside. She said it so casually, as though it were a truth she had already resigned herself to. I assured her no, absolutely not, but I knew exactly why she asked. It wasn't the first time we'd run into something like this, not this exact situation, but other small moments, offhand comments that slipped beneath notice. Once, my mom introduced Maya as Claire's girl, never our granddaughter. Tessa would refer to her as your daughter, like she was talking about the kid next door. At family gatherings, Maya would offer to help in the kitchen, and no one would even acknowledge her. I tried to believe it was unintentional, that they didn't mean anything by it, but this time, it was clear I didn't fight, I didn't yell. I just went online and clicked, not attending. No explanation, just no. I thought that would be the end of it. The next day, Tessa texted me, "Hey, just saw your RSVP. Is everything okay then?" A follow-up: "If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand. We're being super consistent with everyone. Nothing personal, right? Not personal, except that Maya is her niece. And she's 17, not 7. Not 7, I didn't answer. Then Rachel messaged me. "Tessa said you're not coming. Like, what's going on?" Then my mom called. She never calls me just to talk, so I picked up. Already bracing myself. "Claire," she said, "I heard you're not going to the wedding." "Is this really about the age limit?" I said. "Y is not invited. I'm not going without her. She's almost 18. My mom said, "It's not like she's a little kid. She's family." There was a pause. "Don't punish your sister over this. It's one night I didn't argue. I just said, 'We're not going,' and hung up. That should have been it. But then came the group chat messages, the guilt, the little comments that weren't even subtle. 'Rachel can't believe you're making such a big deal over one rule. You always have to cause drama. Maya's not the only one not coming. This isn't about her. You're making it about her.' My mom sent a long message about family unity and forgiveness, about how we've all made sacrifices, about how it's hard being in the middle. I didn't respond. Maya deleted the dress photos from her phone. She stopped talking about the wedding. She didn't cry, but I think that's what hurt me the most, how unsurprised she was. She'd already learned. What I spent too long trying to ignore, so when Christmas came around and no one had apologized or even brought it up, I made a quiet decision. I didn't invite them. No big announcement. No blow-up. Just silence, and that's what made them really angry. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what I thought motherhood would look like, I would have said birthday parties, messy, hugs, glitter on the carpet. I wouldn't have said trying to protect a child from people who claim to love you both. When Maya came into my life, she was 3 years old and heartbreakingly serious. Big brown eyes, soft curls, and a quiet stare that made you feel like she was memorizing everything you said, just in case she needed it to survive you. She didn't warm up quickly, she didn't giggle on cue, she didn't run into my arms like a movie scene. But when she finally reached for my hand in the grocery store without being asked, I cried in the parking lot for 10 minutes. My husband Ethan was the one who said that was the moment she chose you. And I've been choosing her every day since, but my family never quite knew what to do with her. At first, I chalked it up to awkwardness adjusting. Barely. She didn't have my eyes. She didn't carry my last name yet. She didn't jump into conversations at holidays the way the other kids did, but it was more than that. It was the way my mom referred to her as the little one. Instead of Maya, the way Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" When Maya was standing right there, the way Rachel's kids got Easter baskets from our parents with personalized names, while Maya got a generic one with a Happy Spring tag. Wasn't overt, it was quieter than that, softer, easier to excuse if you wanted to. But Maya noticed, she always noticed. I tried to be patient, I really did. I explained, I redirected. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. When Maya was 6, she told my dad she wanted to be an artist. He smiled and said, "You'll need something more practical than that." When she was 8, she drew a picture of our family, me, Ethan and her, and gave it to my mom. My mom smiled, said, "Thank you," then set it down and never mentioned it again. Maya asked later why it wasn't on the fridge. Like the other cousins' drawings, I didn't know what to say. The first time I really lost my patience was Rachel's engagement party. Maya was 12. Rachel had invited of us. We were added to a mass text with a time, date, and venue. No, can't wait to see you. No personal message, but we went anyway because I thought this is how we change it. We keep showing up. Maya wore a pale blue dress and these little silver flats she picked out herself. She was nervous, kept asking if she looked okay, if she could stay close to me at the party. Rachel greeted us with a tight smile and a hi, then turned to hug the next person without asking Maya anything. No compliment, no, "You look so grown up," just air. We stayed for 20 minutes, maybe 25. Maya stuck to my side the entire time on the way home. She said, "I don't think she likes me." I said, "She doesn't know you." She said she's had 10 years, and I didn't have an answer for that. The thing is, I don't think they ever fully accepted that Maya wasn't temporary. It's like some part of them thought I'd eventually have a real child, and this would become a sweet chapter, something they could refer to as when Claire fostered that little girl. They never said it out loud. They didn't have to last year for Maya's 16th birthday. We rented a space at the community center and decorated it with her artwork, her idea. She didn't want some big party with loud music. She wanted to hang her paintings, serve cupcakes, and invite the people who'd supported her. She made the invitations herself, sent them out to family, friends, and a few teachers. Rachel didn't come, neither did Tessa. My parents showed up 30 minutes late and brought a card that said to, a sweet girl with a $20 bill tucked inside. May I thank them? She's always polite afterwards. She didn't say much, just helped clean up, put her canvases back in the car. But later that night, when we were home and the dishes were done, I found one of her sketches. It was a drawing of the three of us, her, me, and Ethan, at the party, but our faces were blank. I think that's when I stopped hoping they'd change, not because of the card or the late arrival or the lack of effort, but because it didn't even hurt Maya anymore, not in the same way she'd stopped being surprised. And that scared me more than anything, so when the wedding invitation never came, not even a phone call or a conversation, just a silent exclusion, I knew what I had to do. I didn't beg, I didn't plead or try to negotiate. I simply told Maya we wouldn't be attending. She didn't shed a tear, just nodded quietly and said, "Okay." Later that night, she asked me, "Do you think they even realized we didn't go?" I told her yes, because she needed to feel like she mattered, even if they didn't act like she did. While the wedding weekend unfolded, we stayed home. Ethan made French toast for breakfast. Maya spent the afternoon painting in the sunroom, and I actually finished a book from start to finish. It wasn't an act of rebellion. It wasn't some grand protest. It was simply peace. And honestly, at first it felt foreign. That kind of silence makes you realize just how much noise you've grown used to over the years. I didn't miss the wedding. I didn't find myself wondering about the ceremony or what flowers they chose or whether the cake turned out. I thought about Maya instead, about how for so long she searched for their approval in every conversation, every holiday, every single family gathering, and how, little by little, they taught her not to expect it. Then I thought about the next holiday. For years, I had hosted Christmas out of duty, inviting them, feeding them, pretending their hollow smiles were enough. But this year, I decided not to. This year, I wanted something different. In early December, Ethan asked, "Should I go ahead and order the folding chairs?" I shook my head. Not this year. No extra seats. He didn't press for answers. Maya didn't either. Soon after, the family group chat lit up. "Who's on dessert duty at Claire's this year?" "Are we still coming the night before, like always?" I ignored them. Let the notifications stack up without opening a single one. I never officially announced that I wasn't hosting Christmas. There was no dramatic declaration, no big social media update telling everyone to take their holiday cheer and snide remarks somewhere else. I just stayed silent. And somehow, that silence ended up speaking louder than anything I could have said. By mid-December, the tone of the messages began to shift. Rachel typed, "Claire, are we still on for Christmas Eve dinner? Tell me what I should bring." Then Tessa jumped in. "We'll be 5 again. Let me know if Maya wants something specific this year, if she's even going to show up." That one nearly shattered me. If she's even going to show up. Like Maya was the problem. Like she was the one at fault, instead of the one who had been pushed aside. And for the first time in years, I didn't respond. I didn't scrub every corner of the house. I didn't place a pre-order for a roast. I didn't drag out the folding chairs or haul the dining table leaf from the garage. When my silence held, the phone calls began. First from my mom. I let it ring. Then Rachel. Then Tessa. Finally, my dad, who left a voicemail. "Claire, we just want to know what's happening. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing." The right thing. As if welcoming people who excluded my daughter was somehow the moral choice. As if serving them dinner could erase the wounds they refused to acknowledge. That year, no one came over. Instead, Ethan and I cooked lasagna in our pajamas while Maya shaped sugar cookies. Edges crumbling, but sweet all the same. We stayed in, watched movies, opened gifts ahead of schedule. We laughed harder than we had in months. And for once, Christmas actually felt like home. No one walked on eggshells. No one translated pointed remarks. No one went silent just because Maya entered the room. It was simply us. And that's when the group chat began to stir again. December 26th, Tessa wrote, "I just think it's sad. We've all tried to include Maya, but Claire makes it impossible to connect with her." Rachel added, "If you cut off family every time there's conflict, you'll end up alone." Dad chimed in, "The way you're handling this is cruel. I'm sorry, but it is." Then my mom sent a picture of their Christmas tree with the caption, "It wasn't the same without you. Maya would have loved her gifts." I didn't reply, because they weren't gifts for Maya. They were guilt-wrapped invitations to come back and pretend everything was fine, and I'd done that for too long. A few days later, we got a card in the mail, no return address, but I knew the handwriting inside my mother had written. "I wish you'd think about the example you're setting. Maya will see how easily you shut people out." That line stuck with me, because I realized that's exactly what I want her to see. Not that love is disposable, but that love, real love, doesn't ask you to shrink yourself. It doesn't ask you to sit quietly while the people around you pretend your pain is too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Maya didn't ask about the messages, but I know she saw the tension. She's never been one to ask directly. She just watches. Absorbs like she's still trying to figure out which parts of the world are safe. One night she was curled up on the couch with a blanket over her legs, sketching something. She paused, then said, "If I wasn't adopted, do you think they'd like me more?" The question hit harder than any of the text. I sat down beside her. "Sweetheart," I said, "they'd probably pretend better, but the way they treat people who aren't like them, that was never about you." She looked at me with those same serious eyes from the day I met her and said, "I don't think I want them to like me anymore," and that was the moment I stopped waiting for an apology. A few days later, my father called again. I let it ring. Then he texted, "Your mother's not sleeping. She feels like she's lost you. We know we messed up, but that doesn't justify shutting everyone out." That's not who you are. I stared at that line for a long time. That's not who you are. I used to wonder about that, used to question whether I was being too cold, too sensitive, too harsh. But now I think this is who I am. Someone who finally knows what she will and won't tolerate, someone who knows that keeping peace at the expense of your child's dignity isn't noble. It's cowardice dressed up as tradition. The final straw came from Tessa. She sent a voice memo, one of those rambling ones where people try to sound calm, but every sentence has a knife tucked inside. "I just think it's sad. Claire, you always made such a big deal about how much you love Maya, but now it feels like you're using her as a shield. Like anytime someone doesn't treat her like royalty, you cut them out. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession." I didn't listen to the rest. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Because if loving Maya fiercely, completely, is seen as obsession in their world, then yes, I'm obsessed. I'm wildly, unapologetically obsessed with protecting the person who needed me the most, and nothing they say will make me regret. That New Year's came and went quietly. Maya fell asleep before midnight with a half-eaten cookie on the couch. Ethan and I toasted with tea instead of champagne and watched fireworks on mute. He looked at me and said, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it. "No." I said I miss the idea of them, but that version never really existed. He nodded, didn't say anything more, just reached for my hand. I don't know what will happen next. I'm sure they'll keep trying. People like that don't go quietly. There will be more texts, more posts. Maybe one of them will show up at Maya's graduation next year, acting like nothing happened. But I've made my decision. There's no big showdown coming, no dramatic confrontation, just quiet distance. And sometimes that's the most powerful choice of all. It happened on a Thursday, cold, overcast, quiet. I had just come home from work, still in my coat when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Ethan was working late. Maya was upstairs preparing a portfolio project for her college applications. I opened the door, and there they were, my parents standing on my porch, like it was still 2007, and we were pretending nothing ever went wrong. My mom had a Tupperware container in her hands. I think they were oatmeal cookies, her specialty. Soft in the middle, slightly burnt around the edges, the kind she used to make when I was little, Claire, she said, with a breathy little smile. We thought we'd stop by. I didn't say anything at first, just stared at the container in her hands, like it might be booby-trapped. My dad shifted beside her. Can we come in just for a minute? No, I said. There was a pause, surprise maybe, but not long enough to matter. My mom tried to recover with another warm tone. We just wanted to talk, things got heated, but we're still your family. She offered the cookies like a peace treaty. I didn't take them. That's when the smile started to falter. You don't have to be like this, she said, her voice tightening. We know it's been hard raising a teenager, pushing everyone else away, my dad added. We tried to be patient. We gave you space. But this, you're going to lose your real family over a girl who's going to leave in a few months. My stomach clenched. She's 17, my mom said softly. She'll go off to college soon, and then what? You'll be alone. You'll regret this. I could hear the words underneath the words. This wasn't about reconciling. This was about control, and then my mother said it, the thing I think she'd always believed deep down. I'm sorry, Claire, but she's not blood. She's not really one of us, she said it gently, like she was doing me a favor, like she expected me to nod and say, you're right, I lost my way instead. I took a deep breath, stepped back, and said, you need to leave right now. My dad looked taken aback. Claire. No, I said louder. You don't get to come here with cookies and pity and act like this is kindness. You don't get to insult my daughter to my face and then wonder why I'm not inviting. You in. You're going to regret this, my mom said again, her voice cracking now. When she leaves you, when she forgets about you, you'll see. Our door will still be open. You'll come back. You'll realize. We were right. I didn't say anything I didn't need to. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it until I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. I told Maya the next day I wasn't going to. I didn't want her to carry their poison. But I've never lied to her, not about anything important. She sat very still while I told her what they said about her leaving. About not being blood, about me crawling back one day. She didn't cry. But I could see it in her hands, how tightly she clenched them in her lap, how her shoulders stiffened. They really think I'll leave you, she said. No, I said. They hope you will that way. I'll meet them again. She nodded slowly. They don't get to hope things about me, she said. I thought that would be the end of it. I should have known better, because a week. Later, my cousin Sarah forwarded me an email that Rachel had sent to the extended family. It was long, rambling, passive-aggressive in the way only Rachel could be, but the point was clear. She told them I had abandoned the family, for a girl who manipulated her way into Claire's life and isolated her from everyone else. She implied Maya had been difficult, distant, and ungrateful, that my relationship with her was unhealthy, that I was obsessed with protecting her from imaginary slights. It was vile and worse. It worked. People started reaching out. Aunt Linda sent me a text, asking if everything was okay. Uncle John reached out to Ethan to see if I was having some kind of breakdown. Then my second cousin, Chloe, left a comment under one of Maya's art posts. You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home. Maya saw it, and I saw her see it. That was the final straw. I didn't respond. Instead, I gathered everything. Screenshots, old text threads, photos, every ignored invitation, every instance of being left out, every little receipt I had kept through the years. I organized it like a case file, not emotional, not bitter, just plain facts. Then I sat down and wrote a letter. No shouting, no dramatics, only honesty. I sent it once, to the extended family alone, with the subject line, for anyone who wanted the full story. I didn't ask them to pick sides. I didn't fish for apologies. I simply told the truth. Some replied, others stayed silent. A handful quietly unfriended Rachel. A few insisted none of it was true. But in the end, that didn't matter, because I wasn't doing it for them. I did it for Maya. So she'd never question what really happened. So she'd never have to wonder, would they like me more if I were related by blood? After that, I blocked anyone who tried to argue, anyone who said, maybe if you just sat down and talked it out, anyone who thought keeping the peace was more valuable than shielding a child from emotional neglect dressed up as family values. We never heard from them again, at least not directly. I'm sure we're still a topic of conversation. I'm probably still the example they give whenever difficult kids come up. And I'm sure Maya's name still gets mentioned in sharp, judgmental tones. Let them talk. They gave up their right to know her. Fast forward. Maya's in college now. She's studying art and excelling in her program. She still calls me every night. Not out of obligation, because she wants to. She texts me photos of her drawings. Sometimes she asks for feedback. Other times, she just calls to say goodnight. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me for a full minute and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Maybe she meant it literally, but I knew exactly what she was really saying. People often say you can't choose your family. But I did. I chose her. Over blood, over guilt, over generations of quiet compliance. And if anyone is still waiting for me to crawl back, they'll be waiting forever. Every so often, I think back to that afternoon on the porch, my mother handing me a box of cookies, as though sugar could erase years of silence, as though baked goods could mend what they were too afraid to acknowledge. And sometimes, late at night, I ask myself, did I overreact? Should I have stayed patient, bit my tongue longer, offered more grace? But then I remember Maya's face the moment I told her, they don't get to treat you like that. I remember how tightly she clung to me when I left her at college. And above all, I remember the promise I made, the one no one ever made to me when I was little, that I would choose her every single time. Do you think I made the right choice? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.